So I think the biggest opportunities I think really are for brands going into kind of 2013 are to sort of maintain the kind of the goodwill, the momentum that's been built by kind of what's been kind of generated this year. And obviously to start kind of capitalising on the enormous kind of drivers that are going across in digital, particularly in terms of mobile penetration, usage, and that blend of mobile and social. So I think there's kind of, you can look at it from a perspective of there being lots of opportunity from a focus point of view and maintaining momentum point of view, but you can also look at it from a point of view of saying how do we exploit these emerging channels and really drive engagement with consumers across those. I think the big kind of changes in consumer behaviour that are sort of driving brands to have to consider how they engage are probably around the sort of like the evolution, I guess, of the relationship of the brand and the consumer. We've always, brand is product. I think what we've seen over the last few years is brand is also service and experience. But I think if you add kind of mobile and you add social to that, and the kind of plethora of different sort of channels now that we've all got to kind of engage on. What you've got to start to be able to do is start to think of the brand as almost something which is a kind of product in its own right across all of those different channels, and making sure that there's a sense of kind of continuity and consistency across all of those. So I think what brands have got to do now is think across the entirety of different channels. And make sure that they're kind of engaging in the right way, in the relevant way, the usual marketing stuff, but also starting to think about how mobile and social kind of impacts that. So I think mobile and social bring two new things to kind of the equation. The first, mobile, the big thing for me for mobile is that it brings geo. So suddenly it's targeted to where you are and what you're doing at this moment in time. That's not something that we've been able to do really, in the past. In digital, certainly, obviously, we've had local press, local media, but fundamentally, I think mobile brings that really interesting kind of geo play. And I think social, if you add social to geo, I think you've also then got your network and your kind of preferences, your personality, your behaviour, defined by your social kind of footprint. And if you add that to mobile, you suddenly then have to kind of think about it from a brand point of view of how you then tailor the service, tailor the brand, and tailor the experience to the fact that you now have geo and you have that kind of social layer around it. I think that is enormously exciting and a big opportunity.